Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this one we are going to build a flying monkey game, very much similar to the Angry Birds where you launch the characters. So we're going to get started by double clicking to delete the cat, which starts off every script or every game. Okay, at the top I'm going to give this one the title Jumpy Monkey. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and get our characters. So we're going to go down and add a new sprite and choose from the library, and I'm going to choose the monkey. I'm going to go with monkey 1. And then we're going to add another sprite, and this one's going to be the arrow, which will be our launch symbol. So I'm actually just going to rename this launcher. Now we're going to need a few variables throughout this game, so we're going to start with our first variable. So we go into the data and we're going to create the variable launch speed. We'll add in the other ones as we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is add our scripts to this launcher. So we're going to go into the Events tab, start off with the first one, when clicked, and then we'll choose the data to set our launch speed to 10. Now you can see that our launch speed is on the top of the screen. If we double click that, we can change that to a slider so that later on you're going to see that it'll be useful when we launch him and maybe he can't quite go far enough and we need to increase the speed so he can go further to get some of the further obstacles, or maybe he needs to go less far. So we'll add the slider in there for now as well. The other thing we're going to add in is our motion. So we're going to start him off. We want this launcher to be in the corner of our screen, not in the middle of it. So we're going to tell it to always be down in that corner. So we have to choose our coordinates at -200 and -140. And we'll also point him, well actually I'll just show you. So that moves him over there. But we want to angle it into a launching position, so we're going to change the angle. So we're going to point him in a direction of 45 so that it turns that way. And we want it to be out front as well. So we're going to have go to front. Alright, now we have to run the controls for this. So we're going to start off with, this is going to be controlled using the left and right arrows on our keyboard. So we're going to go into Events and, oh sorry, Control. What am I looking for? I want, no it's not a control, it should be an event. Alright, so let me look again. When, there we go, when the left arrow is pressed, so we're going to change this drop down here and choose the left arrow, then it's going to rotate 1 degree, and I want it to rotate left this way, so we're going to pull that one in. If I'm going left, rotate left 1 degree. So we're going to repeat that. If I use the right arrow, I want it to rotate right 1 degree. So we're going to use that drop down menu again, choosing in the right arrow, and then go back to your motions, and this time have the arrow rotating to the right 1 degree. We just want to rotate in small increments so that I can adjust my launch as needed. Alright, we're going to use the up and down arrows to control our launch speed, which again can be done with a slider, but we're going to have it down here as well, so there it'll be a little bit two options of changing that launch speed as well. So in the events, have another one, and this time we're going to have when clicked, and we're going to use a control statement attached to that. And we're going to use an if-then repeating loop. And we need some kind of operation. So we're going to use the, choose the one with the symbol of less than, and drag that in there. Alright, now what we want to do is have if the launch speed is less than, say, 20. Right now it's set to 10. But if it's less than 20, then we're going to change that. So choose your data, drag in your launch speed, and put in here a value of 20. Okay. Now I'm just going to change my launch speed by 0.1. Oops, I just realized I put in a one click there, and that should be when the up arrow is pressed. I'll just change that one there. Now let's control when the down arrow is pressed. So again, I need the same if-then statement, the same operator. This time I want the one with the greater than symbol. So this time in my data, if my launch speed is greater than 1, then I'm going to change the launch speed by negative 0.1. So now if you hit play and you use the right arrow, you can see my arrow going right. If I move the left arrow, I can see my launcher moving left. Using the up arrow, you can see up top here that my launch speed is increasing, and if I use the down arrow, I can decrease it. So that has controlled our launcher. Now what we want to do is add our script to our monkey. So we're going to click on our monkey and start our events. So when clicked, now he's quite big, so we're going to change his looks and shrink him down a bit. So we're going to set his size to a certain percentage. I'm going to try, let's see what 35 does for him. Ooh, that's awfully small. Let's go 50. And try that. Alright, I'm going to keep him at 50. Now, our motion is going to, we don't want him to rotate because he's being launched, and I mean, I guess you could have him twisting and turning all over the place if you choose to. But I'm going to have set rotation style to not rotate. So if we see that, well, we can try, you know what, let's play with both of those options after just to see the difference. And then we'll have end that one by saying go to launcher. So attach that one on there and just change that. I want him down by the corner with my launcher so that he's not starting where he is right now in the middle of the stage. So I'm going to click this one, and now you'll see him move. Alright, so let's get him to fly through the air. Let's click on our events and choose that when I press the space bar, I'm going to, my motion will be to go to my launcher. And I'm going to point in the direction of the launcher, so this monkey will point in whatever direction my arrow launcher is pointing to. So I need to tell it to do that. So I'm going to point in the direction, and I'm going to add in here a sensing option of I want it to point in the direction of my launcher. So I'm just going to look for that one. I believe it's this one. It says X position of launcher, but we can change that. So change that drop down and choose direction. So point in the direction of the launcher. So we're going to have a repeating loop for that. we want to repeat that until it touches the edge of your game, in which case we will have to move our launch speed so many steps. Excuse me. So add in a sensing option. We want to repeat that until it's touching the edge. So drag in that first one, the touching, and drop down the edge of your game there. Now add in your motion. He needs to move still. So we're going to move so many steps. And he's going to move with whatever my speed is. So I'm going to choose the launch speed from my variables instead of steps. So the more I increase or decrease my launch speed, that's how much he's going to move. And then attach go to launcher at the very bottom here. So I've got one more to add. Go to, there it is. Go to launcher. Alright, so now as you can see, my arrow is moving. If I hit the spacebar, he is, well, he hasn't done anything yet. Okay. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what I missed at the moment, so I'm just going to carry on, and I'm sure it will work itself out as I figure that out in a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in an obstacle for him to have to jump over. So I'm just going to go and add another sprite and choose a tree for him to jump over. So in your library, find something you want him to jump over. Doesn't have to be a tree. I'm going to go with that one. Okay, and drag that somewhere around there. Alright. We also need to add what it is he's going to collect. So we're going to go to add a new sprite, and my monkey's going to collect the bananas. So let's go into the events and add our code for that. So when clicked, we're going to start by hiding those bananas. And we need to add another data here because I want to set the number of bananas that he's going to have to collect. So I'm going to make a variable, and I'm going to say, just call it number num bananas. And you can see it's popped up there. Now you don't necessarily want that in your screen. I mean, you can, but it depends if you're going to be changing those or leaving it constant the whole time. So I can, well, let me just show you. So I can set the number of bananas here. So let's just say each time he needs to collect 3. When I play my game, I'm only always going to have 3 bananas that I need to collect. You could double click this and have a slider so that the person playing the game can determine how many bananas they want to collect. I guess it would give them more options, or you just make it the same every time. If you want it the same every time and they don't have that option, then you would just uncheck that number of bananas so that they can't see it in there. So that's up to you if you want to be able to change the number of bananas. Now I'm going to add a repeating loop. So I'm going to repeat with my number of bananas, repeat my number of bananas, and then I'm going to go into a control and create a clone of myself so that I will end up with 3 bananas. Alright. Now, when I create a clone of myself, the next thing you need to do is add in the when I start a clone of myself. So once you've started the clone, we're going to use a motion, and we're going to tell it to go to a random spot throughout this whole area. So we're going to go a random, go into your operators and pick random for both x values and y values. And we'll just change these from 0 to 200. We don't want to go into the negatives because, well, you could. That's up to you. And then random for the y minus 140 to positive 140. And we'll make those banana sizes random as well. So let's go into a looks and we'll set a size. So we're going to set size to, rather than 100%, we're going to use that pick random again. And we'll just go from a size of -10, or sorry, we can't have a negative size. We're going to go from a size of 50 to 100. Let's change the color of our bananas as well. So let's look at set color effect. And again, we'll make that random. And we'll go from a -10 to a +20. And we want to show the bananas, so make sure you show those clones. Now we're going to go into a control, and we're going to wait until those bananas touch the monkey. So I need to have a sensing option, and we're going to choose touching monkey. So if the bananas get touched by the monkey, we're going to score a point. So we're going to, we're going to score a point, but we're also going to change the number of bananas by taking away one each time it touches so that they don't stay on the screen. So we're going to choose from the data option, change the number of bananas by -1, because we're essentially taking one away from the screen when we land on it. So with a control, we're going to add in if-then statements, repeating, and we need an operator. This time we're going to choose the one with the equal sign here. And oops, did it not go in there? There we go. And this time we're going to choose that we need the data. If the number of bananas equals to 0, so drag in your number of bananas there. So if all the bananas are gone, we've landed on all 3, then we're going to go into events and broadcast that the game is over. So we're going to broadcast a message here. And I'm going to create a new message and say game over. And then I will delete that clone because, well, he'll be gone. Alright, so you can see the 3 bananas on the screen now. They're all just a little bit different in their color effect as far as lightness and darkness, but they're all still a tinge of yellow. The size is set to random, so some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller. Now, what I need to do is I want the monkey to stop flying when he hits the tree. Well, first of all, I guess I need to get him to fly, so why is he not flying yet? Okay, so trying to figure out why this monkey doesn't seem to want to fly on don't rotate. I don't know, because it's worked before. I must be glitching out. What I've noticed is if I hit change that to all around, then he seems to work, and then I can put him back, and he doesn't. So for now, I'm going to leave him on, he can rotate all around. Alright, so you see he flies off stage, and if I aim him at the tree, he flies through the tree. Well, we don't want him to do that. So we're going to add in that we're going to repeat until he touches the edge, but also that he touches the tree. So we need to add in a variable for that. So we're going to pull this one out for now, and we're going to use an operator. And I want the OR option. So I want that to repeat until he either touches the edge or he is going to be touching my tree. So change that one down to whatever object you've made in there. Okay, now the other thing that we want to do to our bananas is we're going to want to, or did I do it already here? Oh no, never mind. I already changed the number of bananas. Okay, losing track after having monkey issues. So let's just retry that now. If I aim him at my tree, and of course he doesn't want to launch because my computer is being a pain in the butt. Oh, there he goes. Oh, because he can't go that far. That's fine. Okay. So he's launching, but he's flying off in outer space. So we need to add some gravity to this guy so it acts a little bit more realistic. So what we're going to do for that one is we're going to add in another data variable, and we're going to make a new one, and we're going to call this one gravity. Again, I don't want my gravity to show up there, so I'm just going to uncheck that. So I'm going to add in a set gravity underneath here. Let's just move that down. And I'm going to have my gravity be negative 0.2. And I'm also going to want to have a fall speed. So I'm going to add another variable for fall speed. And again, I don't want that to show up on the side, so I'm going to uncheck that one as well. So this time, when I press my space bar, I want him to point in the direction of the launcher, but I want to set a fall speed for him as well. And then I'm going to add in a motion that after he moves so many steps, his y-axis, which is up and down, is going to change by his fall speed. So I want to add in his changing the y, which is your vertical axis, by adding in that data of his fall speed. And then I'm going to change his fall speed by gravity. So that now, let's just reset that. Aim him up higher to get over that big tree. And he starts to come back down. So as you can see, he's not quite going in high enough, and this is where using the up arrow or the slider to increase that launch speed and give him that extra distance you need. So that essentially is the game. Now again, like I said, you can add in more clones or more bananas. Just curious here, I might actually put in my number of bananas in here and change it as a slider so that when I'm playing, well, it seems to be locked on the number of bananas. Maybe I'm not here to do that. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to try maybe 5. I'm going to go with 5. I think it might be a little bit more interesting with a few more bananas. So you choose how many you want. So we're going to add in one more script, and that's just to tell when the game's over. So we're going to go into the paintbrush for painting our new script and choose a color that you want there. And the thickness of your oval outline. I'm just choosing the outline. I'm not going to fill it in the same color. So I'm going to create myself an oval. And I will choose a lighter fill for that. And now I'm going to add in my text. Okay. So we're going to type, well done. And I'll add another line here. You use, and leave us a space there, because we're going to throw in the tile for the number of launches, which is going to change for each game. Center that a little bit better. Okay. So, let's write our script for this one. So click on the scripts tab, choose the events. When clicked, we're going to go to data, and once the game starts, we want to set our launches to 0. So we're going to drag over this one, but change the fall speed to, say, launches. Oh, okay, I guess before I do that, it would be helpful if I make a launches variable. It's not here. So I'm going to type in the launches. Now I should be able to change that and uncheck it from there. Okay. Actually, what I think we'll do is I'm going to put it back in the screen just for a second, and I'm going to have you guys double click, and we're going to change this to say large readout so that it just shows the number. Now I want to center that, so I can't center it until my game is done. So we're going to add that in just a minute. So we're going to finish off this code. So after we've set our launches to 0, we're going to hide that variable. And also in the looks, we're going to choose the hide. Now it has to receive that signal that the game's over. So once it receives that signal, game over, then this oval that I put in is going to come up in the center of our game. So I need to make sure that it goes to x0, y0, which is the center of the grid. And at that point, I'm going to hit looks, and I want it to go to the front of everything else, like it's sitting right now, and show itself. So I'm going to choose go to front and show. And this time I'm going to go to data, and I want it to show the variable launches. It's going to be changing. At that point the game's over, so we will stop all. Now we want it to tell us how many launches, so the final thing we have to add in as an event is to say, well, when the space bar is pressed, which is every time I'm launching my monkey, that I have to change the number of launches by 1 as well. So it counts it for us. So I'm just going to run the game one more time and hopefully try to collect all the bananas so that, oops, I can center my game over script. My tree might be a little bit big. Oops. Make sure that I clicked on there. Let's just get rid of that. To get around, so I will do my best to launch. Need a little bit more speed there. And now to get that other one, it's going to be a little tricky. It's going to be straight up and down. Close. There we go. So what I want it to do now is I want this to be in the center. There we go. So I guess one final thing to finish off is let's add a background. So click on the stage backdrop and then into the choose from library. If you plan on making your own. And let's see, this monkey will be launching somewhere. I don't know if there's a jungle, there's a lake, but that's how it's fun. I think monkeys are found in the winter. Not that it needs to make a whole lot of sense. I could choose the hayfield. You know what? I'm going to go with the desert. I know monkeys aren't in the desert either, but that's okay. Alright, so my game is essentially complete. I can play around with the number of bananas or anything else. And if you don't like the size of your tree, if it's too difficult, you can change that as well. So that is it. Actually, I'm going to do one more thing, sorry, before we go. I'm going to add just a sound when I launch them and when I collect my bananas. So I'm going to click on my monkey script one more time. And this time, when I press the space bar to launch them, I'm going to play a sound. And I'm going to go into my sounds library. Hopefully by now you're getting familiar with where some of these things are. And you can choose a sound you like. Or record your own, which I know is always fun too. Let's see. I think I'm just going to go with something simple. I'm going to do a cowbell. And go back to my script and change that in the drop down. And then I also want a sound on my bananas. So when they are touched by the monkey, I also want a sound to play there as well. And again, I will go into my sounds, choose from the library, and choose a sound for that. How about the rattle, since I am in a desert? Okay. Go back to your scripts, pull it from the drop down, and now we are ready to get some sounds. Ooh, of course, gotta change my launch. There we go. So that is the monkey launch. Very similar to your traditional Angry Birds. Hope you have enjoyed and have fun making your own. Thanks for watching.